Excellency, Prime Minister Lee Hsien Loong, Excellency, Deputy Prime Minister Shanmugaratnam, Honorable Ministers, Professor Tan Tai Yong, distinguished guests, thank you for the honor and privilege of delivering the Singapore lecture. I am conscious that I walk in the footsteps of our leaders who have shaped modern India. And our relationship with this region. President Sri APJ Abdul Kalam, Prime Minister P.V. Narasimha Rao, and former Prime Minister Shri Atal Bihari Vajpayee. Mr. Prime Minister, I am deeply honored that you have joined us here. We have been on the road together in the past few weeks for the G20 and the ASEAN and East Asia summits. This tells you how deeply linked the destinies of our two nations are. To the people of Singapore, on 50 years of independence, I extend the greetings and the good wishes of 1.25 billion friends and admirers. In the life of humans and nations, milestones of a time are natural, but few countries can celebrate the first 50 years of existence with a sense of pride and satisfaction that Singapore deserves too. And I can do no better than to begin with homage to one of the tallest leaders of our time and the architect of modern Singapore, Lee Kuan Yew, to capture his mission in own words. He gave his life to see a successful Singapore. And it was with his well-known determination that he saw Singapore to its golden jubilee year. His impact was global. And in him, India had a well-wisher who spoke with the honesty of true friendship. He believed in India's potential at home and her role abroad more than many in India. For me, he was a personal inspiration. From his Singapore stories, I drew many lessons. The most profound, yet simple idea was that transformation of a nation begins with a change in the way we are. And that it was as important to keep your city and surroundings clean as it was to build modern infrastructure. For me too, in India, the Swachh Bharat campaign is not just a program to clean our environment, but to transform the way we think, live and work. For quality, efficiency and productivity are not just technical measures, but also a state of mind and a way of life. So in my visit to Singapore, this March, and in the observance a day's mourning in India, we wanted to honor a true friend, and a very special relationship. Singapore is a nation that has become a metaphor for the reality of dreams. Singapore teaches us many things. The size of a nation is no barrier to the scale of its achievements. And the lack of resources is no constraint for inspiration, imagination, and innovation. When a nation embraces diversity, it can unite behind a common purpose. And international leadership flows from the power of thought, not just from the orthodox measures of strength. Singapore has done more than just lift a nation in the highest level of prosperity within a generation. It has inspired the region's progress and led in its integration. And it has made others believe that the possibility of progress is within your horizons, not an unseen and distant hope. Singapore's success flows not from the aggregate of numbers and the size of investments. It is based on what I believe is the key to success. The quality of human resources, the belief of a people, and the resolve of a nation. Distinguished members of the audience, it is with the same vision that we are pursuing the transformation of India. People are the purpose of our efforts, and they will be the power behind change. I do not judge the success of our efforts from the cold statistics of number, but from the warm glow of smile on the human faces. So, one set of our policies are to empower our people. The other set to create the conditions in which enterprise flourishes, opportunities expand, and the potential of our citizens are unlocked. So we are investing in our people through skill and education, special focus on the girl child education, financial inclusion, sustainable habitats, clean rivers and smart cities, and access to basic needs of all our citizens from water and sanitation to power and housing.